Om Shanti. Welcome to Avyakti Parivar. Today is day 18. Become full of the treasures of happiness. Have the fortune of happiness and be happy and cheerful. Today's topic is a life of spiritual pleasure. In the whole world, we are the ones who have the most elevated fortune. No one else can have such a fortune of happiness or remain as happy as we are. God Himself has made us belong to Him. While speaking about this fortune, always continue to dance in happiness and you will become free from labor and you will always continue to experience yourself to have a life of spiritual pleasure. So now let's listen from Didi. Shanti. The treasure of happiness and the intoxication, life of spiritual pleasure. You all know and understand that there is one side of spiritual pleasure and the other one is a physical pleasure. And what do you think the difference between the physical pleasure and the spiritual pleasure? In the spiritual pleasure, it's not just through the body or dancing or just through the physical body, but when we dance, it is in the super sensuous joy. And in the lokic world, if they see something very beautiful or eat very good food or see very good food, that will attract them towards that. Baba always says that we have to be victorious over all the senses. When we are victorious over all the senses, then whatever is the spiritual pleasure or the soul pleasure, we will be super sensuous pleasure, we will be able to enjoy. So we have to check ourselves whether is any physical senses is attracting you or pulling you towards itself. When you are listening to the Murali, or if somebody comes from the door when the students are listening to the Murali, then Dadi Janki used to ask, why did you all turn and see there? You were all listening to the Murali, right? Then why suddenly? Because you turned your attention towards that. So Dadi always used to bring us to a bit awareness that, the nature of the eyes is to see everywhere, whatever happens. And even if somebody is talking, some people have a tendency to try to hear. So that becomes a habit. And some people like to listen. And then same with the talking also. So when we are in silence, and the souls who are not able to be in silence or practice silence, when the situation is not to speak, they just speak because they don't have that attention on themselves. So Didi is saying we have to always have to have the self-control and also have an attention on what we need to practice to have the spiritual pleasure. So a life of spiritual pleasure. So it is like imperishable, right? If it is like with the senses, with the bodily organs, it is all temporary, right? But when it is with a spirit, that you're enjoying the pleasure of that a life of spiritual pleasure, then it's completely different, right? So have an attention And then,
उसका
with all
अभ्यास
full
भी करेंगे
attention, we will listen
कि
to the
बाबा क्या
Avyakta
चाहते हैं।
Ishara of today
आप
and
में से
try to
किसी को याद आता है कि
understand and
पहले आप
imbibe
कैसे फौज
this.
में रहते थे और अभी
Do
कैसे
any
रहते
of
हैं?
you remember or
आता है
compare
किसी को?
like how before
क्या
coming
फर्क
to
है?
Gyan, how you used to be in a different kind of enjoyment, pleasure,
शांति मौज में
and now how
और
you are
आत्मिक मौज में क्या
enjoying your
फर्क है?
life? What do you think the enjoyment of the
आप लोग तो नहीं
physical
बोल सकते।
body
आज
or the
सामने
senses and the
परिवारों
life
में
of a
व्यक्त परिवार
spiritual
में बहुत बड़ा बैठा है,
pleasure? Hmm?
तो कोई सुनाएगा क्या फर्क है?
Anybody wants to
तब
say,
तक एक दो
share?
मिनट। हाँ,
So somebody
हाँ,
is sharing there in the class. Didi is in New Jersey today. So from there,
हम्म,
someone is sharing.
हम्म। और लोग भी समझ नहीं पाते हैं कि इनको क्या मिलता है, राइट? वो
And
सोचते
the outside world doesn't understand that what do we get
सिनेमा में
here.
जाते हो,
They think
रेस्टोरेंट
that
में
they
नहीं
don't
जाते हैं,
go to
राइट?
any
तो
restaurant, they
बाबा
don't
क्या
go to
कहते हैं
any
कि सारे विश्व
movie,
के
but
अंदर
what
सबसे
do these
श्रेष्ठ
souls get? They think about us.
रसीदा तकदीर
So Baba is
वही
telling in
है।
the Avyakti signal
लगता है ऐसे
that in the
अच्छा लगा।
whole world, we are the ones
हमारे
who have
जैसा
the most
खुश
elevated
नसीब, खुश
fortune.
नमा और
Raise
कोई
your
भी
hands if you
हो
feel
ही
that.
नहीं सकता
No one else can have such a
अगर
fortune
अनन्य
of
हो।
happiness
स्वयं
or
भगवान
remain
ने
as
हमें अपना
happy
बनाया है,
as we are. God
इसी
Himself
भाग्य
has
का
made
मनन
us
करते
belong to Him.
सदा खुशी में
While speaking
नाचते
about
रहो,
this fortune,
तो
always
मेहनत से
continue to
मुक्त
dance in happiness
सदा
and you will
रूहानी
become
मौज की
free
जीवन
from
का
labor
अनुभव
and you will
करते
always
रहें।
continue to experience yourself
तो इसमें
to have
कौन
a
सी
life of
आत्मिक स्थिति
spiritual pleasure. So, what is the main
सबसे
underlying
ज्यादा
point over here? The
जीवन में
spiritual
लौकिक जीवन
pleasure.
में भी होता है
Even when we notice that even
कि
in the
सब
Lokik
करेंगे, पर जब
world,
एक्सरसाइज का
that
टाइम आता है ना,
we do
तब थके
everything,
हुए
whatever is
कोई
needed.
बहाना
But
नहीं
when we
करते
have
कि
to do
ऐसे ही
exercise,
अभ्यास
then we
और
try to
एक्सरसाइज
make
वही बात हुई ना।
excuses like, I'm
तो वो
tired
लोग
or
भी
cannot
कोशिश
do it,
करेंगे
something like that. So,
ट्रैफिक
same
कंट्रोल के
way,
टाइम दिन
um,
में 1
we
या
have to
2
make an
घंटे ऐसे
effort on
करते करते
remembering at least
अभ्यास
like 1 or
पूरा
2
होना ही
minutes
चाहिए।
whenever it's
और जितना
traffic
अभ्यास
control
करेंगे ना,
time.
उतनी
At least
वो
for 1
शक्ति
minute,
बढ़ती
2
जाती है,
minutes, you
नेचर
start
बन जाती है।
accumulating little by
और
little, and
सबसे
then when
बड़ी
you
बात जो
start
बाबा कहता है ना
doing that,
कि
it will
भाग्य
become
बन
your
जाता है, मतलब नूर
sanskar
हो
and then it
जाता
will
है।
become your
तो
fortune.
इसलिए
You're
बाबा जो ये
creating your
इशारा
own
दे रहे हैं,
fortune. So,
तो
whatever
इसको
Baba is
लेकर के
giving the
नशा
objective
भी रहे
signal today,
और
so
अभ्यास भी
have the
रहे।
intoxication and
नशा और
also
अभ्यास
have
दोनों
the
होंगे
practice.
तो हम
If
आगे
you have the
बढ़ते रहेंगे।
intoxication and the
ओम
practice,
शांति।
definitely we will keep on moving forward. Acha, Om Shanti.
Om Shanti,
Om Shanti. Avyak Murli revision from
Namaste
1969, multi-million fold fortune and blessings.
Avyaktavarni,
Today's
तारीख
Avyak
है 25 मई
Murli, it is 25th
1973।
May
भविष्य प्लान
1973. Future
विश्व
plan.
परिवर्तक
Do you
विश्व
consider
कल्याण
yourselves to
हेतु
be world
मर्दानी
transformers
व
and world
अमर्दानी
benefactors,
नजर से
whilst considering
मिटाने
yourselves
वाले
to be the
बाबा बोले
ones who give the
अपने
message
को
to
विश्व
every soul of the
परिवर्तक
world?
व
Do you
विश्व
ever
कल्याणकारी
calculate to
समझते
what
हो।
extent you have been able to
विश्व
give the
की हर आत्मा
message
को
to the
संदेश
world?
देने वाले समझते हो।
Are you creating new
विश्व
plans
में
for the
कहाँ
places where you still
स्थिति
have to
नई है,
carry out the
इसका
task of
हिसाब
giving the
किताब
message?
निकालते रहते हो।
One always thinks
जहाँ
of
जहाँ
plans for
संदेश
one's
देने
own
का
duty and
कर्तव्य अब होने वाला है,
responsibility.
इसके लिए नए
Wherever you put the plans for
स्टार्ट
giving the
कर दो फिर
message or for
आवाज
spreading the sound
बनती
of the
है
Father's
उस
introduction
कर्तव्य के प्रति
into their
उसके
practical form, the
सेवक
main
चलते रहते
effort
हैं
you make is that
कहीं भी
whichever land
संदेश देने के
or
लिए
whichever place you
माँ
have to
बाप
give
के
the
परिचय का
message,
आवाज
you
बनाने
first
के लिए
create a
अभी
stage.
तक जो भी भिन्न
Then you
भिन्न
prepare
प्लान्स
your speech
प्रैक्टिकल
and you
में
also
लाते
adopt
हो
various means of
उनमें
publicizing the
मुख्य
program
प्रयत्न
through
यही
which you
करते
carry
हो
out the task
कि
of
जिस
giving the
धरती
message
पर व
to the
जिस
souls
स्थान
of
पर
that place.
संदेश देना
However,
है
up to now,
वहाँ
with
पहले तो
this method,
स्टेज
you
तैयार
only have
करते
been
हो
able to give the message to
स्टेज
a few
तैयार करते
souls
हो
of the world.
और पब्लिसिटी
Now,
के
you
भिन्न
have to
भिन्न
give a
सेक्शंस
message to the
बनाते हो
whole world in a short
जिस
time.
द्वारा उसी
You
स्थान
have to
की
introduce
आत्माओं
them
को
to Gyan and Yoga.
संदेश देने का
You have to
कर्तव्य
carry
करते
out the
रहते हो
task of giving them the
लेकिन
recognition
इन
of the
साधनों
Father.
द्वारा
And
अभी तक
together with
विश्व
that,
की
you
अंश
also have to
मात्रात्मक
purify
बुद्धि
matter.
संदेश दे
Only
पाती
then
है
will world
अभी थोड़े समय
transformation
के
takes
अंदर
place.
जब सारी विश्व की आत्माओं को संदेश
What
देने
future plans have you
ज्ञान और
created
योग का
in order to
परिचय
carry out this great
बाप की
task in
पहचान
short?
कराने का कर्तव्य
Does
करना ही
the
है
blueprint of
साथ
those
साथ
plans
इस प्रकृति
enter
को
your
भी
intellect?
पावन बनाना है
Is it the
ताकि
same
विश्व
form as that
परिवर्तन
which you are
होता
doing now, or is it something
इसके लिए थोड़े
different?
समय में बहुत
Do you
बड़ा
see in
कार्य
advance
करने के
what that
लिए
form is, or will you see it
मनुष्य
as you
कौन
move
सा
along?
प्लान बनाया है
If it is clear, then
वह
relate it to Baba
रूपरेखा
in two
बुद्धि में
words.
आती है
Since the time is
अभी जो
short,
कर
you
रहे हो
need
वही
to have a short
रूपरेखा है
plan. They
या
should be
वह
short
कुछ
but powerful.
भिन्न है
What are
वह
those
क्या
two
है
words? The
वह
future
एडवांस
plans are to
देखते हो
take practical
या वह
shape
चलते
on the
चलते
basis
सीखेंगे
of just
अगर
two
स्पष्ट है तो दो
words.
शब्दों में
You
सुनाओ
have been told these two
जब
words
समय
before
भी
also.
शॉर्ट है तो
One
प्लान
is
भी शॉर्ट
to
चलेगी
practically and
शॉर्ट
visibly
हो लेकिन
be an
पावरफुल हो
image of the
वह
Father,
दो शब्द
that
कौन
is
से हैं
Sakshat Bap
भविष्य
Murat.
प्लान प्रैक्टिकल रूप
Secondly,
में दो
to be a
शब्दों के
detached
आधार पर ही
observer,
होना
which
है
is
वह दो
Sakshi,
शब्द
and
पहले भी
an
सुने
image
थे
that
एक
grants
तो साक्षात
vision, which
बाप
is
मूर्त और दूसरा
Sakshatkar
साक्षी और
Murat.
साक्षात्कार
Cha
मूर्त
Om
अच्छा
Shanti to be
आगे की मुरली
continued.